Man, I love Final Fantasy Tactics. Even the GBA and DS sequels were pretty good. I can't wait to see what's next for the series. Hello, welcome to my channel, I'm glad to see you. You know, I've been willing to do this video for a while, and Final Fantasy Tactics was on the list originally. But would you look at that, Square is actually bringing the series back. I mean, it's just a bare bones remaster, but beggars can't be choosers, I guess. And if Final Fantasy Tactics is back, then I hope the games on this list can also see the light of day again. Hey, don't look at me like that, a rabbit can dream, you know. This is my personal list, so if a game you like isn't here, let's say like Brave Fencer Musashi for example, it's not because I dislike it, it's simply because I haven't played it. But before we begin, make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss any of my future videos. We just hit 3k subs, and the next goal is 5k. I believe we can get there with your help. And without further ado, let's get started. And since we talked about Final Fantasy Tactics, what better way to start than... For those who don't know, Vagrant Story is set in Ivalice, the very same from the Final Fantasy Tactics series. And man, what a game. You can clearly see it was made at the very end of the PS1 generation, considering how it pushes the console to its limits. The sound design is top notch, the writing is superb, every single cutscene in this game is amazing. The cinematography, the lighting, oh my gosh, absolute cinema. And what pops out for anyone with working eyeballs is the graphics. Sure, it might not seem like much today, but back then, this was a technical marvel to behold. This game almost looks like an early PS2 title. Even the faces are animated, which was unheard of in the 5th generation. Seriously, every time I boot this game up, I'm left speechless about how beautiful this game is. Even with all its muted brownish colors. But graphics are one thing, the gameplay is another, and this game is a bit divisive in this aspect. Back in the day, Square was mostly known for its vast catalog of turn-based RPGs. That doesn't mean they didn't try stepping out of the mold every once in a while. Like for example with Brave Fencer Musashi we mentioned before, that was an action RPG. They also innovated with another entry on this list that we'll talk about later. And this game was one of those times in which Square decided to be cute and try something a bit odd. This game is basically a mix between an action RPG and a turn-based one. Everyone moves in real time, you and the enemies, and to attack you press a button, this aura orbs spawns that work as your reach, and if an enemy is within it, you can attack them. So far so good, but the game really shows true colors when you unlock combos, because they're the core mechanic that will make or break the game depending on who you ask. On one hand, if you don't have the correct weapon for the enemy you're fighting, you have to keep doing combos to raise your attack from 0 to the point where the enemy finally dies. On the other hand, if you know what you're doing, you can essentially kill a boss with a single combo, which is neat. Anyways, you get what I'm saying, Vagrant Story is amazing, you should play it. Just find an alternative way of playing if you catch my drift. Because buying it nowadays second hand is very cost prohibitive. Bring it back Square, I dare you!
What do you think, Sid? Let's see another one, Nikki.
Oh, heck, why not?
Here's the thing, the list is about games that belong to Square Enix, not necessarily that they made it themselves. And as some of you might know, Square bought a few companies throughout the years, and with those acquisitions came some of the IPs that those companies owned. We saw one of those dormant IPs make a resurgence, with the Gex Trilogy recent release.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
But there's plenty more games that I like to see make a comeback. and one of those is Pandemonium, originally created by Crystal Dynamics. I doubt many people remember this series, since it's been quite dead since the PlayStation 1 era. Pandemonium, with an exclamation mark, very important, let's not forget that. It's a 2.5D platformer, which means that the action is side-scrolling, but the scenery is in 3D, which can be a bit disorienting at times, but it's quite neat visually. This game was quite popular during the early PlayStation days actually, and it even has versions for the Sega Saturn, PC, mobile, and the N-Gage of all things. What, you don't know what an N-Gage is? How does it feel to not wake up with back pain? Anyways, this game was popular enough to warrant a sequel, this time exclusively to the PS1 and PC. Poor Engage got shafted, and it's as good as the original, if not a bit better, despite the female protagonist becoming a sex symbol for some reason. What is this? Goon City? Ugh, I don't wanna go there, it's so sticky. Both games are quite fun in their own right, and although I hardly doubt Square even remembers they exist, I would love to see them come back. Now here's a game that I actually talked about on the channel before, Racing Lagoon. This game is a mix between RPG and racing games, a CaRPG if you will, and you will. The gameplay as a whole is pure arcade racing, with plenty of drifting around corners in imported Japanese cars. But the hook of the game is the RPG mechanics, in which you level up your car parts in order to be able to equip better parts to them. Parts that you essentially steal from your opponents, using your reputation points that you earn on the races. It's a very addictive loop of winning, getting better parts to become faster, so that you can win even more to get even better parts. And another staple of RPG games is also present here, which is an absolutely bonkers story, which is told in these incredibly odd cutscenes that are unlike anything made to this day. This game has a very specific vibe that it goes for, and it nails it perfectly. It feels cool, lonely at times, full of adrenaline at others. It's amazing and everyone should give it a go. Even if it's just to listen to the incredible soundtrack it has, there's some absolutely bangers in here. But here's the thing, the game originally never even left Japan, and the only reason we were able to understand the story nowadays is thanks to the efforts of fans translating the games. So what is the chance we'll ever see this game again? Very slim as you might imagine. But who knows, man, I never thought that I would see Final Fantasy Tactics back again, so one can dream. Remember when we talked about it before with Pandemonium? Same principle applies here. Well, kinda. The thing is, Buster Groove was originally published by Enix, you know, as in half of the name is Square Enix. But I have no idea who holds the rights to the Buster Groove franchise, so let's talk about the game. Buster Groove is a very unique rhythm game for the original PS1. Dancing games of that era usually had dance mats so that you could press the arrows with your feet. But not here. Buster Groove is a dancing game for the true sedentary, and that's one of the reasons why I love it. The way it plays it's simple. Hit the arrows inside the box between beat 1 and 4, and press the button by the side of the box on the 4th beat. If you hit them right, more complex combinations will appear. Keep hitting them for big combos and high scores. You can also interrupt an enemy combo to rob them out of their points, but they can do the same to you, so if you see you're about to be smacked around, press the dodge button in time to style on them and keep your combo rolling. The player with the highest score by the end of the song wins. And if you did especially well, you get a celebratory dance at the end. It's good stuff. Graphically, the game aged really well due to the art style they went with, but the star of the show are the songs. They are really catchy and fun to dance to. No matter how many times I listen to them, I'm always singing along. Take me to my magic tower, in a land of make-believe. Good graphics, innovative fun gameplay, amazing music, and even the cast is very memorable. You have the JoJo character, good representation, bad representation, problematic representation, the author's barely disguised fetish, no matter what you do there's always a Japanese kid that will do it better than you, he's just like me, for real, diva, Fallout character, the unholy breeding between a 90s hentai character and a magical girl, and lastly but not least, your average Brazilian capoeira fighter slash dancer. The first game was released in '98 in all regions, but I only have the Japanese version of the second game. Look at this cool green diamond case it came with. And the reason I only have the Japanese copy of the second game, it's because it was never released here in Europe, despite the obsession Europeans have with music competitions. And the reason it's kept on European releases... But that's better than the third game, which never even left Japan. Which is weird. I wonder if there's any reason for... Oh. Anyway, like I said before, I'm not even sure if Enix was the IP holder of the game. But even if they weren't, they should buy it and bring it back. We need more of that. Here's another game that gets the Square bread and butter, which is RPG, and mix it up, this time with survival horror, to give us an unforgettable experience. Parasite Eve is weird, but the good kind of weird. The one that sticks with you long after you beat the game, leaving you wanting more. It has that undeniable 90s charm to it. Pre-rendered backgrounds, random battles, real-time but very much turn-based combat, the whole package. And all the things we came to expect from Square games back in the day. Like amazing graphics, incredible cutscenes, memorable soundtrack, and a story that make you question whether or not you forgot to take your pills? And for a while it looked like this would be the next big thing for Square. We even got a sequel on the PS1. Sequel which was released in Europe, despite the first game not being released here. Man, what the hell was going on back in the day? Who was in charge of deciding the releases at Square? And even a third game on the PSP that is a bit divisive to the fanbase. I never played it, so I can't comment on its quality however. It even got a really weird movie that make me question whether or not I should stop taking my medication. But none of that matters. Even if the series was just the first game, it deserved a second chance. What we got was so special that it's a crime that it's now forever locked in Square vault of amazing series that are waiting for a comeback. Seems like, despite the mitochondria being the powerhouse of the cell, Parasite Eve is not the powerhouse of Square. Bummer. And that's my list of 5 Square games that definitely needs a second chance. I wanted to put Front Mission here as well, but since the first game got a remake recently, there's still a chance for them to shine again. That's certainly more than I can say for the poor old Racing Lagoon. But who the hell knows, Final Fantasy Tactics came back, so anything is possible. Square, I dare you to bring those games back, you cowards, bet you won't. But that's it for this video, I hope you liked it. And if you did, remember to give it a like, and consider subscribing because I intend to making many more like this one in the future. But that's it for now. Bye bye.